The Phantom Menace is peak fire.
Correct.
The only thing that tops it is the Attack of the Clones.
Correct. And watching it 25 years later, it 100% holds up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, I've always been curious about, like, how trade disputes happen in the Star Wars universe.
Yes. Jar Jar Binks is my favorite character in the film, no cap.
Absolutely no cap. It delivered.
Welcome to our review of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
"25 years, man.
25 years later.
That is, like, insane where that shit went.
Yeah.
I think I was 16, 17
I
years
think,
old.
May of 99. I think I was 17 when Phantom Menace dropped.
Today is the first day of the new Star Wars movie.
Really?
I remember it vividly.
Oh, I remember it too.
I remember everyone was excited. The first trailer came out. It was great. I mean, the first shot was the fog.
Yep.
And those things coming out of the fog. And
It was the most hyped film of my lifetime.
Or possibly of
all time.
Yeah. And then you saw it.
And then we saw it.
And then there was this phenomenon that happened where, because it was the most anticipated film of all time,
Yeah.
you, like, lied to yourself.
You didn't understand, like, how you should feel.
I had to lie about my feelings to save face.
Yeah, it was.
You go see the movie,
Yeah.
and you're like, you leave, and you're like, that was a Star Wars movie directed by George Lucas.
Why do I feel?
Why do I not feel fulfilled?
What's this emptiness?
What is this emptiness I feel inside?
Yeah.
So you go see it again.
Exactly.
Which I did.
I saw it probably 3 times.
I shouldn't have done that.
And then by the 3rd time, I was like, oh, fuck this movie.
Oh,
this
this movie sucks.
Yeah.
And so the last time I saw that movie was right before Attack of the Clones came out. I wanted to refresh myself because I thought, well, it can't get any worse. And how wrong I was. So yeah, the last time I saw this movie was probably like 2002.
Yeah.
Up until, a few days ago. Even back then, I found little things here and there that I was like, oh no, that's pretty good. Now it's like,
No.
it doesn't hold up.
It's a fucking slog. It's got the worst pacing. Like, as soon as they get off Tatooine, it's like, it's so boring after that.
Yeah, when they go to Coruscant.
It's so boring.
It's just like, okay.
It loses, like, first of all, there's no steam, but it totally loses
What little
whatever
steam
was
it
there.
had is
Whatever
just gone.
energy was in there,
Yeah.
it's gone at that point.
Yeah.
And then, it's the argument is, oh, when the final battle takes place and Duel of the Fates kicks in, it gets better. And it's like, yeah, it's more entertaining,
Yeah,
but
or
it
you
still
get like
sucks.
Duel of the Fates kicks in while you've got a battle going on the surface, while you got like a space battle going on, while you got the invasion of the palace going on.
Sure.
There's just so much shit going on.
And to be fair, if you like watch Return of the Jedi, that's how the final battle is structured
yeah,
too.
yeah,
You know
of
what
course,
I mean?
yeah.
But
I
still,
cared more.
You cared, exactly.
This didn't give a shit.
And even then, in Return of the Jedi, when you're watching it, you really want to stick with Luke and the
you want to see
Emperor
how that
and
plays
Darth
out.
Vader.
But like the way that scene is going, like they're kind of just all together, like just watching the space battle, and like they're just going in through their minds, like how it's going to play out and how he's going to attack, and there's like a lot of turmoil going on with those characters. It's like when this first came out, everyone like lost their mind over Duel of the Fates, and like rightfully so. In '99, it was like, this is the first time we've got like a cool fight like this in however many years.
We haven't seen a lightsaber fight since
Return of the Jedi. Yeah. So it was just inherently cool, and the music was dope.
Oh,
like,
great score. It's funny because I just feel like the Gen Zers are going to be really, really pissed off at what we're saying right now.
I don't care!
But this is the thing, though, right? Gen Zers, they hate the fucking new ones, the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, assholes, the way you guys feel about those, that's how we felt about the bullshit prequels.
Yeah, we were old enough when we saw Phantom Menace that we could actually properly judge it. Whereas I know a lot of people who were like maybe 12 years old, maybe 10 when it came out, and they saw it. You're like, yeah, you're a kid. You're not gonna be as harsh on it. Like there's movies that I saw when I was a kid, and then you grow up and you're like, oh, okay, if I had seen this as an adult, would I still feel the same?
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, maybe, but I remember back in 1992 when Batman Returns came out, I was like, fuck this movie. Like,
you're
then, I was like,
I love that movie.
But see, like back.
But no, watching it now though, I look at it and I'm like, ooh, it's not as good as I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah, but back in the day though, like when something new came out, and that's how it is. That's just how it is. When something shiny and brand new comes out, people tend to kind of forget about the previous films, and they just focus focus on that and they like it.
Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
But me, Batman Returns, this movie, I'm just like, this fucking sucks. Like, it's missing what made the predecessors so good.
And now what's happening with all the shitty sequels coming out now, people are like looking back fondly on the prequels like, wow, you know, at least we still have the prequels, and oh, these shitty new movies make the prequels look pretty good. It's like, no, no, they don't. They still suck. They all suck. All of it sucks.
This is perhaps the most annoying aspect of the sequel trilogy. It's having people that look back at the prequels with rose-colored glasses, thinking that they were so great. No, they fucking suck ass.
Yeah, the only thing the
prequels,
the only thing the prequels did better than the new films is that they at least had
there was a through line.
From the first to the third film.
There was a plan.
There's a plan.
Yeah.
The new films don't even have that.
No.
So that's all you can really say about the old films.
Yeah.
That's really it. So let's jump into the plot.
We seem to be made to suffer.
This film,
it's so convoluted.
It starts off with a trade federation tax dispute. What a shitty, boring way to start your movie off.
Look, we fully realize that Red Letter Media's takedown of the Phantom Menace.
It's unrivaled.
You can't get better than that.
No,
so we're not gonna
No.
We're not gonna claim that we're gonna get better than that because that is so fucking spot on, and there's literally nothing better than that in terms of.
No, they didn't leave any stone unturned.
Nothing
they picked apart that whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
However, I still want to go through it and
of course,
talk about maybe a couple things that were good. It's going to be tough, but why it's shit, basically.
Yes.
So you start off with a really convoluted premise about a boring topic, yet the film is, I guess, geared towards children. Like, just the way the whole film is presented, it's very childish humor, and one of your main characters is a child.
Yeah.
Obviously, this movie is geared towards kids, but then it's got this very, like, adult-oriented taxation Senate plot going on.
So it's got this funky fucking tone.
It's got a very weird tone.
And like there's a lot of people that say Star Wars movies have always been for kids. No, they're PG, so kids can see them.
They're accessible to kids.
Yes, but they did not like tailor them for children.
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't children's films.
This is tailored towards a child.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, it feels like it's written. It feels like we got draft one. George was like, "Fuck, this is perfect." Mm-hmm. Anybody want to read it? And everyone was like, because it's George.
Everyone read it, and they were like, "Oh, this is fantastic.
This is so good, George. This is so good."
Yeah, he's like an overprotective parent, and by doing that, he's retarded his child.
They were just blowing
We
him.
don't need to replace any of this dialogue. It's not wooden at all.
Jar Jar Binks, wow, what a great character.
Perfect. Okay, Jar Jar Binks. I don't know anybody that likes that character. If you like that character, like, I can't even. We can't even have a conversation. But okay, here's my thing with Jar Jar Binks. He comes in as this, like, okay, I'm like... Jar Jar Binks comes in as this really, like, clumsy, idiotic comic relief character, full CGI. So the audience is, like, supposed to be laughing at this character.
Jar Jar Binks is what someone with no sense of humor thinks humor is.
And then you get C-3PO comes in, because Anakin had been building him. And now...
Oh, fuck that.
Right.
Oh my God.
Separate issue.
Yeah.
C-3PO is the comic relief of the old films.
Yes.
Like, there's a balance to his character as to how annoying he is, how silly he is, and he works really well in the old films.
Right. And plus, he plays off the other characters. He plays off R2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when he comes into the film and he meets R2 in that scene, you get that little, like, OG Star Wars, like, banter with C-3PO and R2, and you're like, oh yeah, this is the good comic relief from the old films. Why the fuck is Jar Jar here?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need him. All you had to do is bring in that C-3PO type character, and that's your comic relief right there. Like, they went overboard to the point where C-3PO's like, this dude's weird. He didn't even get Jar Jar.
I remember back in the day, people were convincing themselves that the real reason why the movie sucked is because of Jar Jar.
Jar Jar Binks, you're an evil asshole. You are a stupid low-life fool.
Yeah, no, it goes way beyond.
Everyone jumped on the fuck Jar Jar train, and yeah, that's true. Like, that character sucks.
Right, but you remove him from the film, it's still a bad movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, he blows, but he's the least of that movie's problems still. The movie has so many other issues than just fucking Jar Jar.
Yeah.
He's just symptomatic of the problems of the movie.
No, you have a convoluted plot, which focuses on this trade dispute with Naboo, and then once they rescue the princess, they get her off the planet, their ship breaks down, they got to go to Tatooine, where they pick up Anakin. You get super long sequence of them trying to repair their ship, and then you get the whole pod racer thing, which was just a spectacle in itself. And then once they pick up Anakin, they get their ship repaired, they go to Coruscant for the Senate meeting so she can appeal to the Senate, which you're there on that godforsaken planet for way too long.
Fucking
and then
boring.
The Queen's just like, well, I'm going to go back to Naboo and defend my people, and then it goes back and you get the conclusion there. And it's like, fuck, like, it's so boring. You get no characters who really stand out. You get shit going on, like you get Qui-Gon and like Anakin and like all this stuff going on, and Padme, like, but no one is like the focus, like Luke is in the original. Like,
yeah.
You understand like where Luke is coming from, what his plight is, where he's going. Like, you learn all of this in the beginning of New Hope, and in this, like, you don't learn shit about any of these characters. And the only character you can kind of say like, oh well, you know, I know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. It's like, yeah, because you've seen him in other movies.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you don't even care necessarily what happens to him because you know he's going to live. Because,
well, yeah, exactly.
So the whole fight at the end between Qui-Gon Jinn, him, and Darth Maul, there's just no stakes when it comes to him.
There's
it's
no
like,
stakes,
it doesn't
right?
matter.
Yeah. Once Qui-Gon dies, it's like, okay, I guess that sucks. Like, you still don't know shit about him, or really, you don't really care about him at all.
I mean, he's Liam Neeson. He's great.
Oh, Liam Neeson's great, but
yeah.
the character himself,
exactly.
It's just like, who gives a shit?
Speaking of Darth Maul, I guess you could say that he's the most memorable character from the film,
and probably because he's the most iconic.
It's iconic. It's a visual
but he's
thing.
not really like, he has no depth to him.
Of
He's
course
just
not. And
he's just a Sith apprentice.
And he was
okay.
he was really cool. I mean, the trailer, everyone was excited to see what this guy was
because it's
about.
like,
what
oh,
he was
who's
gonna
this
do.
new villain? Yeah, and he looked cool.
And
that was it.
He was the most interesting aspect of the film, even though he doesn't really have that much to do, and he's
got
just
a few
kind of a
lines
presence.
of dialogue where he's like, we're coming back.
But where I'm going with this though is like, he was the most interesting. Like, everyone was excited to see him, and then they just kill him. Yeah. And he dies in such a dumb way.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. So they blew that. They wasted that. It's funny, like, just to kind of go back to the initial reactions to seeing the film, you know, we shouldn't have necessarily been surprised. Like, in retrospect, we had the special editions that came out in 1997.
Yes.
The 20th anniversary of Star Wars, the original.
When George got his hands on CGI.
Yes, and so that should have been our first clue as to what they were going to do with the prequels. But back then you just didn't see it that way. But it was cool seeing them on the big screen. Like, I was excited to do that because I was too little to see.
But then all of a sudden you see like Jabba walking around with Han, and he's CGI,
God,
and it's like
fucking
whoa,
terrible.
Whoa,
and they do that thing where he actually walked around the actor stand-in, so they had to, like, Jabba has a tail, so they had to make him step over the tail.
Yeah.
And it's this shitty, like, CG motion blur thing when he steps over the tail. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
This is a crucial scene, George, and you fucked it up. How are you going to unfuck this?
But then, like, I wasn't one of those fucking nerds that camped out for 6 months or whatever waiting for it to come out.
Tickets, yeah.
But I was still extremely excited to see it.
Yeah. I remember that first viewing, the two sequences that I took away from it that I was like, all right, these are kind of fun. Obviously, Duel of the Fates, because everybody was just blowing that scene. I didn't mind the pod racing scene itself.
I always hated that fucking scene.
If you remove it from the story, just by itself, I was like, at least this is like fun. Yeah. And I remember enjoying the scene for what it was, not what led to it.
Yeah.
Or the characters and everything.
It's a well executed scene. The problem that I had with it was that, again, this kind of goes back to what we were just saying about the special editions.
Yeah.
George Lucas's reliance on the fucking computer. Mm-hmm. And that whole sequence is just one computer animated sequence.
That's true. That's true.
And I just wasn't ready for that. Like, I was expecting like the old school way of doing things.
Right.
And like nowadays they would probably make that all CG as well, but CG is much better now. And like if ILM is doing that same scene now, they'd make it look different. 1,000,000 times better.
Maybe.
But right, exactly. You're right. But that's why I said ILM, because ILM is the best.
I did like some of the sound design. Like there's sound design in that pod racing scene that I think is iconic. It does remind me specifically of like just that.
Yeah.
Like, they did a good job with that stuff. Like, yeah, this is questionable CGI, whatever. But the sequence I remember liking the first time I saw it. And then on subsequent viewings, it's just like, This is entirely unnecessary.
The sound design that you bring up, that is one of the stronger parts about the movie.
Yeah,
they brought back the same sound designer from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
John Williams' score is fantastic.
Great. Like a lot of the Naboo sequence stuff.
Yeah, not just Duel of the Fates.
Yes,
it's actually
a good score.
Yeah, it is.
The film is scored well.
Yeah. In fact, in my opinion, that is the best thing out of the prequel trilogy are the scores.
Yeah.
I love the music in all three of them. I know Duel of the Fates is like the one that's the most memorable, but in the second one, you've got the love theme, Across the Stars, which is fantastic.
No.
And then the third one, though, I kind of like it better than Duel of the Fates, but it's Battle of the Heroes, and it's the music where Obi-Wan and
they're fighting.
That's so fucking good. It's one of the best cues in all Star Wars.
The music's solid.
Yeah, it's great.
In the old films. But everything else, it's just like shitty writing, just shitty dialogue,
right?
Wooden delivery.
Okay, well, I've got one more positive thing to say about it.
Oh,
I think this is it. And this is comparing Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last Star Wars film to be shot on fucking film.
Yeah.
That was the prequels, I mean.
Yeah.
And so it has that tangible, real feeling that the original trilogy had, where they actually went to locations. They filmed on location. They built sets.
Yeah.
They did all this stuff. Whereas 2 and 3, it's like fucking watching Sin City.
Yeah, those movies are just shot on green screen.
It's just a green screen movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it looks like shit. Especially if you watch Attack of the Clones and the Clone. Oh, that's like a discussion for another time. But that is the worst fucking Star Wars movie of all time. That movie sucks ass.
Yeah. Worse than Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi is terrible. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but
I'm
of the
sorry,
Clones is
it's
worse.
really, and I know that again, the sequel trilogy is so fucking terrible that it's making everyone look back at the prequels like they're good. I don't give a shit. Attack of the Clones is such a fucking horrendous movie.
Yep.
But anyways, in that one, when the clone troopers get introduced, there's literally not one person in a clone trooper suit. They're all CGI.
Yeah.
It's all fake. There's not one real. They never built an actual clone trooper suit. It's all fucking fake. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's lots of CG in Phantom Menace, but out of the 3 prequels, it's the only one that feels remotely, in my opinion, like a Star Wars movie. It's just a shitty Star Wars movie.
There's nothing really else that's positive to say about it.
No.
I don't know why people look back fondly on it.
It's fucking atrocious. That whole scene where they go through the planet core. There was a cut. Oh, what was it called? Back in the day, someone did the Star Wars, the Phantom edit. And they just concise that whole film. They
cut out the nonsense?
So what happens is they just... Oh, we're gonna leave. We're gonna go through the planet core,
and they just go through it.
Then it does a Star Wars white transition, and they're coming up to the other side, and that's
fucking
fucking
so much better.
Oh my god, it's way fucking better.
They get attacked by that giant underwater creature, and it grabs them, and
there's always a bigger fish, or whatever the fucking line is.
Qui-Gon's just like,
and it looks like shit.
And he looks back, and Jar Jar's like flipping out, and he's like, "We're not in trouble yet."
You can just hear George Lucas going, Liam, can you look over your left shoulder?
Yeah, no, your other left.
No, your other left. Yeah, sorry, I'm that monitor. I think Liam Neeson's just like you said.
What am I looking at? Big sea creature.
Right.
Okay. Well, we're not in trouble yet. And then another sea creature comes and just eats that one, and they're like, "See, we're fine." And then dude, in the same scene, the power goes out in the ship, obviously from the damage they sustained in the back of the ship. And Obi-Wan's just like, he flips a panel open, and there's just 2 wires, and he just twists the wires together, and the power just comes back on. Like, what the fuck was that?
Power's back.
Huh? What is going on?
What is going on?
This is like a far cry from Han and Chewie running around the Falcon trying to fix shit. Like smoke coming out everywhere. They're like,
right, while they're in an asteroid field.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many little things. Like when Jar Jar's like, "Oh, I'm going to take you to my secret city," and they put in their little breathing things, and they jump in what looks like the edge of like a river or like a small lake, and then it cuts to it's like they're under an ocean.
Yes, it's like Avatar too.
What the hell? Yeah. How deep is this river? This is stupid shit. This whole movie's like this.
Is Darth Maul cool? Yes. Is it cool seeing a new lightsaber fight sequence? Yes, and episode 3 is the worst purveyor of this, but the fights are like overly choreographed at this point. They're no longer realistic. It's like watching a fucking ballet dance.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing all these flips and doing all this
Obi-Wan
bullshit.
sees Qui-Gon die, and then they just go right into another choreographed fight, as opposed to like when Luke loses his mind, he just like hammers the shit out of Vader. All composure's gone.
Sure, and yes, if you watch like A New Hope, or when you watch Star Wars, the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, it's clunky, it sucks.
Yeah, but like you care.
But you care. There's a balance to be had, I think. And if I were to be charitable to the sequel trilogy, I do think that the fights were done better in those. It's modern day action, but the choreography does not feel like it's overdone. You know what I mean? It's more of a grounded fight style. Whereas the prequels, it's just like they're just following
that fight
moves.
between Obi-Wan and Anakin in the third film, like I hate that scene.
I fucking hate it.
So it's like they're just like climbing up shit, they're jumping on
It's like a
floating
video game.
It's like this fight would have so much more gravity behind it if it was a more intimate fight. And they just went for like ridiculous spectacle.
It's like seriously like a side scroller.
It's a side scroller video game. All for it to just end and you just like fucks him up and he falls in the lava or whatever. It's
you know, you're lost. I have the high ground.
I have the high ground!
Dude, fucking Darth Maul had the high ground in fucking Phantom Menace.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah, you just flew over his head and he was like, whoa. And then didn't defend himself and he lands and then just cuts him in half. It's stupid.
It's like an automatic win just because you're higher than the other person.
Yeah, okay.
Stupid.
Yeah. Nothing is thought through.
It's first draft.
Here's all the shit I would like to do. I don't really feel like doing a second draft.
Today is my first day of writing the new Star Wars series. All I need is an idea.
And I know that people have talked about this before in the past, but it's just a symptom of George Lucas just had a bunch of yes men around him.
I don't have anybody telling me what to do. That's what I've earned.
And that was the problem. He needed someone to be like, no, George, this fucking sucks.
George, this doesn't make sense here. You're contradicting yourself here and here. Like, maybe we should go in and rework this.
I get that you want to create new characters, but fuck this Jar Jar character. He sucks. Like, we need to make this better.
You want to make this movie exclusively for 8-year-olds, or do you want it to be accessible to everyone? Like, make it for adults, and kids will love it too, like the original movies.
Yes. After seeing this one, and then after seeing, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, it's no wonder that when you watch Empire Strikes Back, which is not directed by him, it's like the best one.
I know.
He's a great storyteller. He comes up with great stories, but he needs to pass them off.
Yeah, he's
to more talented directors and
he
writers.
Understands, and like we were saying about at least this trilogy, the prequel trilogy has a through line, and it does. Like it does pay off. I'm not saying that it does a competent job telling a story.
It's
very clunky, but there's still story beats that it does hit.
Yeah.
Which is more than what most movies can today can say. You know. But George Lucas is like very good at steering things technically. Because of Star Wars, that created ILM, that pushed special effects forward. He created THX sound, like the sound systems, and like that pushed all of that forward. So he's a pioneer when it comes to visuals and audio and like theater distribution, like all of that stuff. Obviously, the guy is a genius. It just does show his limitations as a filmmaker, as a director.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he even says that he hates working with actors.
I hate them.
He basically hates the filmmaking process. Look, I get it because fucking actors are a pain in the ass. I get it.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're a filmmaker, there are, even if you're not good at that aspect of it, that still is part of the process.
Right. And that's okay. Like
it is.
Some of the best Star Wars that exists is not directed by him.
He left it in more capable hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially Empire. Irvin Kershner like directed the shit out of Empire Strikes Back. And
man.
Even if it's not your favorite one, which you're crazy if it's not.
I've yet to see a fight scene better than the Bespin Cloud City fight
scene.
I mean, and it's not even like a crazy choreographed.
That's what people are going to distragree with you though, is because the choreography.
It depends what you're looking for in a fight.
In terms of emotional weight, though,
and that's
gravitas.
Yes,
all that stuff.
And the visual, just when they're standing on the platform and like their silhouette and everything, it's a gorgeous scene.
Oh, it's. And I was just going to say it's the best looking one.
It's the best looking fight, and it's the fight that carries the most emotional weight behind it.
Yes.
Now you can be as flashy as you want with some of these other fight scenes in later films, but I don't give a shit. eye candy only goes so far, and then I stop caring.
I think that I've always just felt that this movie is a fucking 4 out of 10.
Damn, that's what I was gonna say. 4 out of 10.
I've always disliked this movie, and again, I tried, man. I tried to convince myself. I think I might have even said it was okay when I first saw it. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I think I might have lied to myself too.
Yes, but then again, by
And then
the
I
third
saw it
time you
again,
see
and
it,
it's like, no,
this sucks.
I'm not gonna defend this.
And then I remember seeing the trailers for Attack of the Clones, and it's like, okay, well, they got all the groundwork out of the way.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean?
Dude, I felt the same. Like, well, that was a little clunky coming out of the gate, but this one they're gonna nail it.
Yes.
And then I remember going to see that movie, thinking like, what the? Nope, it got worse.
Fucking awful. And I was done at that point.
It got worse.
I was done. These movies.
No, but then we got Revenge of the Sith, and everybody defends the shit out of that one. Yeah.
Is it the best one? Yeah, but that's like, being the smartest kid with Down syndrome. Like, so what,
Yeah. It's the best of the worst. We're going back to a time when, for the other scale, that...
Oh, that's non-existent.
It's not even an existent.
There was no woke shit in it.
Yeah.
Like, it completely predates wokeness.
Yeah.
So
that's... I'd feel disingenuous even, like, bringing that scale up for this.
No, you can't. Before, pre-2013, there was just no such thing.
Yeah.
And so it's refreshing watching this movie and seeing that. And you have like a bunch of characters that are diverse. It's a diverse cast.
Yeah.
But Star Wars has always been like that. Movies have always fucking been like that. And that's why all this DI shit's so fucking annoying. It's like these people pretend like we lived in this world where things weren't diverse before.
Yeah, like prior to 2013, every character in every movie was just white.
And that's what they act like. We have some opinions about these fucking movies.
Yeah.
Depending on how well this one does, maybe we can do
Attack of the Clones, because I haven't seen that movie since the day it came out. I didn't want to go back after that, but I mean, if you guys want, I'll go back. We'll watch Attack of the Clones.
I watched that probably a year or two ago. I watched the prequels. My nephew wanted to watch them.
because of a child.
Yeah, they fucking suck. I don't care that.
Does your nephew like them?
Yeah, but
he's a kid.
He's a little kid, so
he doesn't know better.
He doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
He's fucking 70. What the hell does he know?
Come back in 10 years, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you guys liked it, let us know. We'll do some more of these because it's actually fun talking about some of the older movies.
Yeah, we don't get to do that too often.